Today, we're going to be diving into Rockstar's latest GTA 5 Online update to review some of the removed vehicles that Rockstar has just added back to the game for players to purchase. These were vehicles that, of course, were removed from in-game websites. Thus, you had no opportunity to purchase them over the past couple months to even over a year here just about. And while some of these cars I think are really good, we also have some fantastic offers. So we're going to jump in and talk about every single vehicle this week here in GTA Online that is featured back into the game for this limited time only. So let's get started with number one. It is the Dubachi Rapid GT Classic that is available at the LS Car Meet this week for $885,000. Now, honestly, we did just have this one about a month ago, so it's not too big of a deal that it's returned, but if you did miss it last time, definitely pick it up this time. It's modeled after the 1972 to 1989 Aston Martin V8 series, and I would say you get decent enough handling along with some really sharp turning capabilities with this car, but just be cautious here because you're going to have oversteer, and you're going to definitely encounter that oversteer at higher speeds when driving. The braking performance on the Rapid GT Classic is also honestly just far below average compared to other high-end cars in the Sports Classics class. However, the crash deformation with this car, I would say, is also pretty good. It's sturdy enough of a choice without upgrades, despite the handling challenges that you may face with this car. And then, of course, once you apply upgrades, it gets even better. And then when it comes to customization options, you don't get the most amount of customization, but I do strongly believe here that this is one of the nicest looking vehicles that you could purchase this week. If you get creative with the paint jobs, you can have some incredibly classic, but also sleek, super eye-catching styling choices when it comes to this Rapid GT Classic. Now we'll move on to the Dubachi 770, also available at the LS Car Meet for $486,500. We also just reviewed this one in my discounts buyer's guide this week, but like I said in that video, it's also a removed vehicle, so I figured I'd just feature it there. I'll go over the Cliff's Notes for you guys who didn't see that video. It has a top speed of 124 miles an hour. It's rear-wheel drive, slower acceleration compared to other cars, poor traction, I would say, compared to its competitors here, but it is also going to be slightly heavier, so it is going to be a little bit more stable, of course, but you're probably just going to be going slower, so that's probably why it feels more stable. It does have a 6-speed gearbox instead of 5, so compared to other sports cars, it gives you that little edge right there. Nice little detail and fun fact, and of course, it's based off that Aston Martin 177, and so you get a nice touch of luxury as well as exclusivity with this car. It looks fantastic. I think it performs good enough. It's worth the purchase, and it looks great, like I was talking about. Now we'll move on to the Dubachi Massacra, which is actually available at the LS Car Meet as well as Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport this week. You could buy it for $275,000. This is going to be one of the older vehicles that were offered here in the game, just because in terms of like older DLC vehicles, and then of course the Rapid GT, the Exemplar, things like that, those are even older. But in essence, the Massacra is going to be a great vehicle because it's got amazing braking, it's got an excellent top speed of 123 miles an hour. That's going to allow you to keep up with the Zentorno as well as the Turismo R, and those came into the game at a similar point in time. The main limitation and negative of the Dubachi Massacra, in my opinion, though, is the handling, particularly when it comes to those high-speed corners and turns. You're really going to struggle to maintain traction with this car, but for seasoned drivers in this game, this may be a challenge that you can easily overcome. But if you expect this car to grip the road like the Grotti Turismo Amagio or something like that, then you may be surprised that this car does not behave in that same super reliable and incredibly stable way. So just keep that in mind. Now let's move on to the Dubachi JB700, available at Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport this week for $350,000. This car is an epic classic sports car in this game with a V12 engine. It delivers solid acceleration at a really high top speed. The car is also lightweight, it's got a low profile, and I think those two things contribute to this car's stability on the track. Yet the one problem with this car is it may tend to oversteer if you're going really fast, just because it is rear-wheel drive. It also boasts exceptional durability here, and you're able to withstand, I would say, numerous collisions before you really suffer any performance negatives here if you don't have the armor upgrades on this car. And it's also surprisingly good at drifting, and honestly it ranks alongside the Stinger in terms of top speed, so I would say it's good enough. But I would say if you give this car 90% of the speed it's capable of, then this car excels in handling, and like I said, at that right speed it offers near perfect control. Just don't push it to the extremes like you would with a supercar. This car isn't a supercar, so it's gonna give out on you, but honestly, you can adeptly navigate any type of track or turn or terrain when you're just going within that appropriate speed. Also, additionally here, the exhaust note is the standout feature I think of this car. It's comparable in quality to the Sterling GT, and I think that adds to its appeal. Players love the sound of that car, and this car sounds incredible as well. Now we'll move on to the Dubachi Exemplar, available at Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $205,000. This is a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car. It's going to be known for its superior handling and balance. You may have heard that from other players who own it, and overall I would say it is a top contender in the coupes class for racing. Surprisingly, considering it does have a long wheelbase, it's got a lightweight build and honestly pretty good weight distribution, so you have the ability to take corners very swiftly and smoothly. You're going to prevent a lot of spinouts or any loss of control just because of that long wheelbase, and for a four-door sedan in the game, I think it's got some of the best handling. It surpasses competitors like the Felon, the Jackal, the Oracle, or even other cars today. You know, although the Massacro and the Rapid GT may achieve higher top speeds in a straight line, the Exemplar is going to stand out because it has amazing grip and handling. You can consistently maintain control. It's never going to unexpectedly slide out or skid out. You know, the top speed I would say is still reasonable and satisfying, and I think that justifies its cost in game. But now let's talk about the Dubachi Rapid GT, also at Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $132,000. This car also offers strong acceleration, but only an average top speed for its class. The handling is going to be, I would say, generally acceptable for the player base, but you will notice that it's going to lack responsiveness, and it has a really wide turning radius. This car also does tend to oversteer on tight corners, but it's going to be relatively easy to correct here, and like many non-DLC sports cars, the crash resilience is going to be very poor on this car. You're often going to suffer from bent axles or jammed up wheels even just after a few crashes. And then the steering of the Rapid GT, kind of like I was talking about here, it feels overly heavy, and that's the biggest negative and like the biggest negative points that I could apply to this car. It's not going to suit the car's very sporty design, and that's going to be a detail that you could see in this gameplay here. You could see him taking turns that are super windy. It's meant for those types of roads and tracks. It's not meant for tight, nimble, and agile city driving. Of course, you're going to struggle with those sharp turns, and also if you try and decelerate in the curves, you're going to notice insane understeer. Despite those characteristics though, of course, like I said, you can't really call it agile or nimble. You have to play to its strengths with this car, but it is still fun to drive, and it's probably worth picking up. Same with the Dubachi Rapid GT Cabrio, also available for $140,000 at Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport. Basically the same performance stats as the Rapid GT Coupe, but you may notice with this car, it's going to have actually a little bit more oversteer instead of understeer with this version. I don't know if that's real or if it's just a placebo, but that's kind of what I've been noticing, so I might as well try and communicate that to you guys. Overall though, I think we have some pretty solid choices for removed vehicles this week. You guys know I try and be as honest as possible in my review, so let me just say that I went on and purchased every single vehicle here that I did not own yet. Despite me reviewing some of these cars, like the Rapid GTs for example, a little bit more harshly than others, I would just want to make it known that none are bad. I want to make that very clear, but just in terms of comparing each one to another that's offered inside of this video, there are going to be some good ones, and then there's cars that are even better than good. So with that being said, before we wrap up, hopefully you guys all enjoyed the video here today, and if you did, hopefully I earned your like on it. And of course, if you guys are new to my channel and you want to stay up to date with all the best GTA Online, Red Dead Online, and Rockstar Games content, then please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single thing we post here on the channel. We consistently talk about updates, news, information, tips, tricks, and even leaks, and we will keep you guys updated here on the channel daily, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected with me outside of YouTube, and you're more than welcome to ask me any questions on those platforms. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next GTA 5 Online video. Adios, amigos.